Hello, this is Margina Edwards, and I'm going to show you how to create a PowerPoint presentation in order to streamline your reading class and to make it more efficient so that you can have more time for small group instruction. This video and project was created as a solution to problems going on in my own particular school setting and classroom setting where there wasn't enough time due to the demands curriculum-wise within the reading block to really meet all of the students' individual needs in small group instruction, which is, as you probably know, an area that is really necessary in order to help students grow with their individual reading levels. So I'm going to show you how to create this PowerPoint presentation that really helped me and my small group instruction. So you start off with you want to look at your data and decide, of course, how you want to make your small groups. According to either skill level or areas that you're going to be working with those small groups. For my particular situation, all 4 groups are going to be divided up into various skills based on my lowest struggling readers being in one particular group because those students actually are working with a special education assistant during their independent stations as well. So if you don't have the opportunity to have another assistant in the classroom to work with those students when they're not with you at your small group table, then you might want to make the groups a little bit more heterogeneous so that you can have some students that are a little bit more of peer helpers within each group. Otherwise, you might find one particular group or 2 particular groups that are really struggling to get anything done because they don't have the level of capability needed in order to create their things independently. So we're going to start off when you go into your PowerPoint is the way I had started this presentation. You go into your PowerPoint and you just want to pick a template that works for you. I like this Ion template pretty well because it looks like an old-fashioned chalkboard to me, and so I really like to create that. So you just want to go ahead and click on that to get started, choose your color to get started, and go ahead and choose Create. Okay, so it's going to default by starting you off with a title slide. And you just want to make something that makes sense to you as far as what you want for your title. So for this, I'm going to call this reading class mini lessons and stations. For me, that's what this is about, is being able to make these into actual mini lessons, to be able to spend some time with my class going over in a short amount of time that whole group instruction time first so that students have more time to work on those projects individually. And that's why the PowerPoint has really helped me to streamline that instruction. Okay, so once you've created your title slide, you want to come up here to new slide, and I click on the lower portion of it because it shows you your different layout options. So for my purposes, I'm going to choose title and content, and it's going to go ahead and pop a new slide for me ready for me to add additional content. And so for each one of your slides, all you'll need to do is click on that individual section and you can type whatever you want to put in there, and then you'll click down below so that you'll be able to create that slide that'll keep you going in that classroom time. Okay, so this is how I have created that initial whole group time slide. It helps me to go over with the students before I get started, what to expect, what we're going to be doing during our time together. And again, once I've created that slide, I'm ready to go to a new slide. You can change the style of it or go with another title and content, for example, which will help you be able to. You will notice that on my second slide, I did not include the little bullet points. I removed those. You just want to click on the, when you go to click on that text, you can just backspace that and it'll take that away. And you can expand enlarge your font and things like that from that level and just make it to fit the way you want it to look. Okay, so I have gone ahead and created my first two slides that are for the actual mini lessons themselves, going along with the order that I had created during my whole group time. I created the reading mini lesson slide, which includes an I do activity, we do together, you do the things I want my students to do right then and there, and then previewing for them what they're going to be doing in stations in their small groups once they get started. That is a gradual release model that you're probably familiar with that we use quite a bit in our school and in my classroom. And so you'll see that continue again here onto the writing time. I put the I do, we do, you do in stations. In this point, they didn't have to do anything individually, but it lets me know kind of real quickly what I need to go over with them, being prepared for that, what we're going to do right then and there together as our whole group, and then letting them know now, right then as we go over it, what they'll be doing once they do get to stations. Now that'll be reviewed once we hit the actual station screen. For my next slide I want to create, it's going to be just a little bit different. I need to create my spelling mini lesson slide, but I want it to be just a little bit different because I'm going to actually take a screenshot of something and clip it in. So I'm going to go ahead and start creating that slide, the spelling mini lesson. But this time, when I go down here to add the text, I don't need this. I'm going to actually enlarge this box. And in order to enlarge a box, all you need to do is get up to one of your corners and you can make it just a little bit bigger here. In either place that you want to. I want to create, by adding a picture of something, a screenshot that I'm going to take from a different website. It's actually where I get our spelling words so that I don't have to go in and type them in and it's a different color and things like that. So I'm going to insert that as a picture here. Okay, so in order to grab the picture of these screens that I want, I'm going to my curriculum website. I'm already logged into it, and it has pulled up a second screen that shows the actual spelling words that I want to use here. On your keyboard, you should have, usually up above the backspace key on the upper right side of your keyboard, you will a lot of times have a button that says print screen. In my case, mine says PRTSC. So that's abbreviated as print screen, and you generally just need to click that button on your keyboard one time and it should copy that screen for you. And so then I'm going to click back over onto my PowerPoint, right click, and actually paste that in as a picture. And so there's the screen itself that I wanted to show. I don't want everything that's on that picture to show up, so I want to format that picture. So if you click up here at the top, let me make this a little bit larger for you. Let's pause for a moment. Okay, so I enlarged my screen so you could see. At the top, you'll see this picture format tab. If you'll click on that and you come over to crop, you can actually bring down what you want to paste in. So I want to come down here and I just want the spelling words themselves. So I'm going to, you want to get, you can see how my arrow is changing here. If you get it to where it looks like the lower part of a corner, and you can just pull that up and down and be able to get just the size that you want. Now in order to crop it, you click somewhere off of the picture and it'll remove everything. And now that's obviously too small to read, so if you'll click on it, you could, this time, now that I'm not within the crops section, I can actually pull it to be a little bit larger. So that might be a good size, and then I can click anywhere on that picture and move it where I want it to go onto the page. Okay, so now I want to do is insert a table because I want to be able to sort this out with my students. So I'm going to insert a table, and there's some different ways that you can do that. For my purposes, I want to create a table that's going to divide my different tools, different spelling patterns. So I might create that table to look something like this. You're going to adjust your size as necessary. And then you'll use your different table tools in order to adjust that. Like I might want to make my top line just a little bit shorter. I can also merge two together, for example, like let's say that this particular set of spelling patterns is going to go together. I can bring those together and merge those two cells, but then it'll still be divided into two columns down below and things like that. So that's how you want to create a table. And then when I go to show the actual presentation, I can write on that with my pen and the different tools that are available within your particular Smartboard or Promethean board to be able to sort those out with the students if you'd like. Okay, so here is where I've added the table in to that spelling mini lesson slide. And so then if I look back at what I wanted to create, I still need a grammar mini lesson slide before I move on to the station tasks and goals. So again, you're going to insert another slide. I'm sorry, click on new slide, add another slide in there, and be able to create your last slide that you want, and as many as you need according to the time that you have available. Okay, so I've created my next slide, which is the grammar mini lesson, basically defining progressive verb tenses, which is the skill for the week, to show what I want the students to know. And then I've created another slide. I'm going to actually have a slide for each one of these different types of verb tenses for past, present, and future verb tenses. But I want to show you one thing that I was able to do with this slide that you can do. So again, I've just created this using the new slide in the title and content layout. And then I changed, you can highlight certain words and change their coloring because I wanted to show the students how I took the same sentence and just changed it to a progressive verb tense as opposed to just past tense. But in order to make this particular line not appear initially, I could actually highlight that line and come up here to the Animations tab. And then you can choose an animation for that. For example, I might want that animation to float in. And then what I want to do is have it to not come on until it comes on my click, so that when I first show that slide, it won't show up initially. And I'll show you how that works real quick. So if I show that slide when it first comes on, it's going to look like this, and then I click and then the second part will appear. So that way the students can have that opportunity to try to figure out what they're supposed to be creating with me. And we're going to do this 3 times actually by creating one for past tense, past progressive verb tense, present progressive, and future progressive. Okay, so I have added my last 2 individual slides that I wanted for the grammar mini lesson by creating another one in that same method with the present progressive and future progressive. And so what I'm going to do before I move on to a separate video on how to create your station slides, I'll go ahead and just real quick show you what your final product will look like. If you go back to your slide 1, you click on it here, and then the easiest way I think is to click right here to your slideshow. It's going to show you through your slideshow. So this is what it looks like, your reading class mini lessons and stations, Mrs. Edwards. This is my whole group time, the reading lesson, different things, and I'll go over that with the students. I'll do that mini lesson with them for reading, mini lesson for writing. The spelling lesson, take the time if I would like to write individually on this table with each one of these words, or you can also add highlighting to different sections of the words if you would want to. And then with each of the grammar lessons, you'll see with each section, if I click on it the second time, I go over with the students what I want them to understand. It'll come through, and that's just by highlighting that second sentence and choosing an animation from the Animations tab for that. And so for the next video, I'll show you how to create the Stations tab itself.